Here again with another Breaking Bad Season 2 episode review video. Before I get into that though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am in rewatching or watching Breaking Bad, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case and you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers, and join me on this journey of rewatching this amazing show and discussing it with me in the comments section. I've watched this show so many times that I don't even know how many times that I've watched it. I would say it's at least 7, could be 10, and this might be number 11. But this will be Breaking Bad Season 2, Episode 3. The title of this episode is called Bit by a Dead Bee. And this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode. And honestly, I don't remember that episode title at all. Just something to think about. Walt and Jesse have buried the gun that they had in the desert, and then they start walking and walking. And they continue to walk to get out of the desert. And then after a while, Walt gets picked up. And Jesse says, "That's a bold plan, Mr. White. Are you sure that's the way to go?" And Walt says, yeah. Walt has taken off all of his clothes inside a supermarket while looking at random things, as a worker at the store or supermarket has picked up all of Walt's clothes, and he's just standing there naked like nothing's going on. Skyler and Walter Jr. go to see Walt in the hospital. Walt hugs Walter Jr. and Skyler. He's really upset. He's trying to make them believe this crazy cockamamie story. And then Walt says he feels fine, other than not sure what happened the last few days. Skyler calls Marie, tells her what was going on with Walt. Hank tells the DEA that Tuco Salamanca was shot before his arrival, and he did not at any means anticipate Mr. Salamanca's appearance. Police need probable cause to kick down Jesse's door, as Jesse and Badger watch Jesse's place from Badger's car from a distance. So he's like, if they want probable cause, I'm going to give them probable cause. And then once the police leave, Badger and Jesse clean out the basement of all the meth cooking stuff. Badger, being the idiot that he is, wants to cook one quick batch. And Jesse's like, no, Badger, we cannot cook a batch of this. Badger's cousin is going to tow the RV. He wants $1,000 to tow it. It's more expensive because of the cargo that's in it. And Jesse's short about $500. And Badger vouches for Jesse, and he'll pay, and Jesse will owe his cousin, I believe his name was Cletus, if I remember correctly. They don't say it in this episode, but if that memory serves me from all the times I've watched this show, that's his name. Could be wrong, though. And Jesse will owe the money. And then Walt's release will be ways down the road, as they need to know what caused this incident of him just taking off his clothes and going into he took his clothes off as he was walking through the grocery store or supermarket. And that's a big problem. Probably because probable cause has been given to the DEA, and Jesse's in a motel room with Wendy, and the DEA comes in. Hank asks Jesse about, now he's in interrogation, what he's been doing the past 3 days. He says he's been in here since Saturday, and then Hank shows Jesse the money that was left in his car, and Jesse's like, that's not mine. And then Hank tells Jesse he thinks his story is bullshit. Jesse sticks to his story no matter what Hank says. Wendy also tells Hank that her and Jesse were shacked up since Saturday, and Wendy says she knows Hank. He's the one that wanted her to do the kid when Walter Jr. was in the car with him. And then Walt has to talk with a doctor or shrink about his fugue state, and Walt tells him he asks him about what the confidentiality is with this patient, and if they can tell his family anything he says, or the police. He's like, no, I abide by all those rules. If you tell me something, as long as you don't say that you killed anybody, I can't say anything. So then Walt tells him he remembers everything. He couldn't stand another second in that house with all the stuff that's going on. His son has cerebral palsy. His wife is pregnant. His wife nags a lot. And he'll be dead in 18 months. And you ask me why I ran. Hank and Gomi have brought in Hector Salamanca in the interrogation room with Jesse. That's the bell-ringing guy in the chair, or Tio Salamanca, as Tuco like to call him. And Hector, though, he won't answer any of the questions after they initially ask the questions to make sure that he's coherent to understand. And, he's not a Stitch. And then he shits himself. And then Gomi says to Hank that old school Mexicans don't help the feds. I guess that's true. And Gomi doesn't believe that Jesse had anything to do with killing Tuco Salamanca. And Jesse and Wendy decide to go to the Waffle House. We don't actually see them go, but they talk about it. And then Jesse calls Walt from a payphone. And Jesse tells Walt Hank took all of his money. And Walt asks Jesse if Hank remembered or mentioned his name. Walt still wants to cook. Plan hasn't changed and wonders if Badger's cousin can get the RV running again. As Walt's thinking later on in the night, he remembers he left the cash in the box in the baby's room. So Walt actually leaves the hospital in the middle of the night and goes home. He sneaks in through the patio door. He hides the gun and the money in the vent. And then Skyler actually wakes up, so Walt has to hide behind the door. He knocks something that's, goes over the top of the crib in the process, so it's moving around as Skyler walks by, but she doesn't notice it. Walter Jr. also gets up during this time. And then Walt returns back to the hospital and nobody suspects a thing. Hank again watches the video surveillance of Walt and Jesse taking the barrel. Gomi wants to get a couple of beers at 11 o'clock in the morning and he's buying. And Hank makes a joke about Cinco de Mayo. Hank's pretty racist during this rewatch, I've realized. Or says things that are not necessarily the most appropriate things to say with this day and age. And then there's a surprise for Hank. Everybody's throwing Hank a party. They got him a cake for his killing of Tuco Salamanca. And they all chipped in and got him a gift. And that would be the grill of Tuco Salamanca displayed in a display case cube. And Walter Jr. is at the hospital with Walt. Walt's about to leave finally, and Walter Jr. wants Walt to drink the apple juice that's provided as Walt says he's not thirsty, but the nurses, they want you to drink it. And then Hank shows up and he shows Walt and Walter Jr. Tuco's grill. And then at home at the White residence at night, Walt gets naked and asks Skyler if she needs anything from 7-Eleven, and Walt tells Skyler they're going to be okay. And then Skyler asks Walt if he had a second cell phone, and Walt says, second cell phone? And Walt tells Skyler he's sure he doesn't have a second cell phone, and they both turn their lights off, because they have a light on each desk, and go to bed to end the episode. So it was an okay episode. It was one of those episodes that kind of sets the next chapter in Breaking Bad, because I feel we just got done with the season 1 finale, even though it's technically episode 2 of season 2. So I scored it a 7.8 out of 10, and it's kind of hard with Breaking Bad. Every episode is probably going to be pretty similar to the character of the episode. Walt for the males, Skyler for the females. And I'm going to give it a 7.8. So you've heard what I have to say. Now, of course, it's your turn. If you're a fan of Breaking Bad and want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, or if you like Better Call Saul or the Breaking Bad movie El Camino, make sure that you Hulk smash that like button, share the video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode. Interact with me. Let me know what you would score the episode and who would be your male and female character, or if you just want to do one person in general, that's fine too. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel as you're watching the video anyway, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special, and JDev will return.